Okay, welcome back from lunch, everyone. Nice to see you guys all back. Welcome to anybody who's joined us since lunch. This afternoon, what we're going to do is I'm going to share this talk with you about integrating the teachings into your life. And then I'm going to share with you details about this activity that we're going to do if you guys would like to participate. But before we do, let me just share with you guys the plan for tomorrow with the field trip, because I mentioned to you guys about the field trip that everyone's invited, even if you weren't here during the course. If you guys run into people today, if you would like to invite people, everybody and anybody's welcome. Tomorrow morning, we're going to meet here at 9 a.m. I'm going to do meditation with students, and then afterwards, we're going to take transportation out to Wat Umong and Wat Doi Suthep. These are two different temples. Here in Thailand, there's two different branches of Buddhist teachings. There's the forest branch, or what is called Dhamma Gai, and then there's Dhammayut, or what some people refer to as the city temples, but they're not all in the city. About 10% of them are forest temples around Thailand, and then 90% of them are this other branch of Buddhist teachings. And by visiting the two different temples on the same day, you'll be able to see the differences between the two. What I'm going to do is walk you guys around and teach you the artwork, the architecture, the symbolism, help you understand the teachings of the Buddha. It's almost like a classroom without walls, where we kind of walk around. We're going to go to the forest temple first. Then we're going to go to a hill tribe restaurant and have lunch. Then we're going to go up into the mountain and go to Wat Doi Suthep on top of the mountain. Some beautiful views there, kind of touring you guys around there. And then we'll come back down here around 5 o'clock. I'm going to organize transportation with the red trucks most likely. And by the time it's all said and done, usually the students all divide the cost of the trucks. It's usually about 200 to 300 baht per person for the transportation by you guys sharing it, which is actually a lot less expensive than if you just did it on your own. And then with your lunch and, maybe a little bit of fees to enter into some of these temples, if you have, 600, 800, 1,000 baht in your pocket, you'll be just fine. There's food, water, all that stuff all along the way. So you don't have to load yourself up with a bunch of stuff. You'll have everything you need if you have just a little bit of cash in your pocket. And like I mentioned, we'll get back here right around 5, depending on the traffic. Sometimes a little bit earlier, sometimes a little bit later. But that's our plan, is to help you guys to understand what it's like to visit a temple and go with somebody who understands the symbolism and architecture and artwork, so that then when you visit temples in the future on your own, that the temples kind of speak to you. It's kind of like the walls will start speaking to you, because you'll understand what you're looking at, instead of like, oh, that's pretty, let me take a picture of that, let me take a picture of that. But you'll actually understand what these things are. Because if you're Thai and you live in Thailand, when they travel around the country, they will typically visit temples in different places. So we're like, we in the West might go to Disney World or Disneyland or things like this. Thai people go and visit temples. So if you're from Chiang Mai and you go to Phuket, there's a good chance that you're going to visit a few temples while you're in Phuket. And the Thai people go around and explore. And it's kind of really fun because you understand the teachings. You can see the symbolism in the teachings. There's no two temples that are exactly the same. They're always different. So it helps you to kind of know about how to visit a temple and what's going on there and some of the teachings. So that's our plan for tomorrow. Do you guys have any questions on the tour for tomorrow? So there will probably be, oh yeah, you have a question? Yeah. You could, if you'd like to. It's going to take you a while to get up on the mountain. From here to Wat Umong, it's for us in the car, it's about a 20-minute ride to Wat Umong. And then from Wat Umong up the mountain in the transportation, it's about 30 to 45 minutes. It's a big mountain. So if you're comfortable to ride your bike, you mean like a pedal bike, right? Oh, motorbike. Oh, okay. Yeah, motorbike. Yeah, go for it. You can take any transportation you like. You don't have to jump into the red trucks with us. You can meet us there. You can travel however you like. But yeah, I was just giving you a heads up about a pedal bike. I thought you were going to pedal up the mountain, because there's some people who do that. Never for the tour, but there's definitely people who do that. Okay. Yeah. If you use a motorbike, yeah, you're fine. You can do whatever you like. Yeah, this is the one that has 306 steps, I think it is. But there's also a cable car that takes you up, so you don't have to take the steps if you're not interested to take the steps. Yeah. 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 It only takes about 8 minutes to get up to the top. Yeah. Yeah, some people could probably walk right up in 5 minutes, I would say. Maybe some healthier people, right? All right. Okay, so if you guys are here at 9 a.m., that's what we're going to be doing. You guys will see there's probably going to be other people that haven't been here all week that are joining us for this. And then I'll just kind of like do the meditation, kind of talk a little bit about what our plan is. I'll kind of say what I just said again for those people who weren't here today. And then we'll just head out and have a good time for the entire day. Okay? If you're going to Wat Umang, if you're going to meet me there, we usually get there around 10, 15-ish. Typically, and then up at the top of the mountain, we usually get to the restaurant around 12:15. We usually get to the restaurant around that time, and then by the time we go into Wat Doi Sotep, it's probably about 2:15, something like that. But it's all fluctuate. It's not set and rigid because we just take our time. But that's kind of like the general flow of what you'll see happens. Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to teach you this topic about how to integrate the teachings into your life, because you guys have been learning all kinds of things this week, and you might be thinking, how do I, take this and put it into my life on a day-to-day basis and get real benefit and results out of the training of the mind with the teachings of the Buddha? Well, I have this little short talk to share with you guys, that what I suggest you do is that you attend weekly classes, either in person or online, and attend in-depth learning opportunities on an as-needed basis. So this would be like a in-depth learning opportunity, like 5 days of really deep study from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. This would be like a really in-depth training that you might do occasionally during the year. But then throughout the year, you would like to kind of trickle the teachings in, kind of taking in a class about once a week. And you can do that here, but you know that I also live stream the classes. So no matter where you are, you can watch the classes live on YouTube, Facebook, or on Zoom as well. And if you can't attend live, there's the recording. So you like to be trickling the teachings in. Even though, I don't drink coffee anymore, you understand drip coffee, right? Like when you're dripping the water into the coffee, it makes a really high quality coffee. That's what you would like to do, is just drip the teachings into the mind. Because you're not going to get to enlightenment really quick. It's not a quick thing. It's not a 1 day, 1 week, 1 month, or even 1 year thing. It's going to be gradual training, gradual practice, and gradual progress. And you're going to need to consistently build up the ability to gradually be training the mind where you're attending classes. Then you'd like to be reading this book. This is the first book. You can get it for free on our website by downloading it. You can take it and go print it if you like on your own. You can get it here by just reimbursing us for the printing cost, or you can get it on Amazon. If you slowly read this book, about 10 to 20 minutes a day, you just gradually trickle the teachings into the mind like that. Whereas if you sit down and you read for 3 hours, which you might have a feeling and an urge to do, you're not going to be able to wrap your mind around all of the things that are being shared with you. Because remember, you would like to independently verify the teachings. There's no belief in the teachings of the Buddha. You're learning, investigating, and examining. You're reflecting on his teachings to independently verify if they're true or false. And then you're practicing his teachings, integrating them into your life. So if you just learn a little by little by little, that gives you time to reflect on what it is that you just learned. So by learning 10, 15, 20 minutes through reading, you'll be able to have the opportunity to do that. It's kind of like taking a big bite of pizza. It's much harder to digest that than if you just took a little bite, right? And the other thing that you'll notice if you read this way, that as you're going through life, there's going to be certain situations that you encounter, and then you had difficulties and struggles with that perhaps, but then 3 or 4 days later, you run across something in the book and you're like, that would have been much better if I would have handled it that way. Or you're going to be reading the book, and then 4, 5, 6 days from now, you're going to have just read something that you're going to be able to implement 3 or 4 days from now that, I already have the answer of how to fix that and not do that in an unwise way. So if you're gradually trickling the teachings in like that, you're going to be encountering situations that the Buddha is talking about, and he's giving you guidance about how to actually handle any given situation. So you'll be able to immediately implement it in those kinds of situations. Then you would like to be practicing generosity frequently on a day-to-day basis without having any expectation of anything in return, where you're sharing your time, effort, energy, and resources. Because as we shared before lunch, when you're practicing generosity, you're training your mind to let go. The whole problem that the mind is experiencing is that it's holding on. That's why it gets angry. That's why you get annoyed. That's why you get frustrated or agitated or any other feeling. Oftentimes people think that it's other people who are causing you to be angry or frustrated. But what you guys learned this week and you independently verified is it's your own mind that's causing these feelings. And it's your mind holding on, wanting things to be a certain way. And if you get things the way you want, you get those pleasant feelings of happiness, excitement, elation, thrill, euphoria. But if things aren't the way you want them to be, that's where your painful feelings come in, the anger, the sadness, the frustration, and others. So you're training your mind to let go and not crave this permanence, having all these wants and expectations of other people. Because when you have all these wants and expectations of wanting other people to be a certain way, they're not going to be able to meet your expectations permanently. It's just not possible. So you're kind of sabotaging your ability to be peaceful and joyful as long as you form expectations in your mind of what you want other people to do. So the generosity is training your mind to let go. So you'd like to be doing that frequently every single day. You could easily be finding ways, 2, 3, 4, 5 different times a day to be practicing generosity as you're going through your day. Then you would like to be improving your moral conduct because you guys learned the cause and effect and action and result in the way that we interact through our speech, our actions, and our livelihood. This is going to impact what you experience on a day-to-day basis. Whereas if you're putting out harm through your speech, your actions, or your livelihood, then this harm is just going to come back to you. So the Buddha gave you guidance on how to improve your moral conduct on a day-to-day basis. And that's going to be challenging for you to gradually improve that because you've been doing things the way you've been doing it for whatever amount of time that you've been alive. And now to kind of transform your mind and do things differently, it's going to be somewhat of a challenge for you. So just understand that that's part of the path, that you will be challenged. The Buddha teaches you not to shrink back from the struggle. Because when you're struggling, what the mind's going to tend to want to do is run away from that. Because the mind wants permanent comfort. And when you're experiencing struggles in your day-to-day life, you might try to push that away or run away from it. And if you do that, you're just ensuring that it's going to happen again. Because the whole reason why you're struggling is because you lack wisdom. There's certain wisdom that you don't have. And if you run away from that or you shrink back from the struggle, you're losing the opportunity to cultivate wisdom. So that means that same situation is going to occur again and again and again because you never get the opportunity to cultivate the wisdom of how to make different decisions and experience different results. But if you don't shrink back from the struggle, instead you turn around and walk towards it, now you get to cultivate wisdom. And now anytime you face that same situation again, you have the wisdom of how to overcome it. And that's the way that you would improve day by day is cultivation of wisdom, particularly around your moral conduct, ensuring that you're making wise decisions based on how the Buddha described that for you. Then you would like to develop a daily meditation practice of 2 to 3 sessions per day for 30 minutes or more. That's what you would like to build up to. And this can sound like a lot for someone who's first getting started because you probably have a lot of things in your life that are maybe unbeneficial for you. If you're searching social media 3, 4, 5 hours a day, if you're watching YouTube videos 3, 4, 5 hours a day, that takes up a lot of time in your day-to-day life. You can kind of bring that down to a minimum, and then you'll find you'll have a lot more time in your life to devote to reading, coming to classes, meditating, and things like this. But you're going to need to gradually shed those things out of your life and maybe bring it down to a more manageable amount of time where, 6 hours of social media a day would be way too much. You would like to bring that down to be more balanced. So not only that you have time for things like meditation, but spending time with your friends and family and advancing your professional career and doing hobbies and things like this. So it's going to take you time, maybe 6 months, 12 months, a year, or 2 years to build up to this level of frequency and duration. But remember, you're not in a competition with anybody. You're on your own journey to enlightenment. You're not in a race or a competition. So if you start with one session for 5 minutes, hey, start there. And then just gradually expand it. But what you will notice is that frequency of your meditation is more important than the duration. So if it was a matter of one meditation for 30 minutes or 2 for 15, go for the 2 for 15. That's going to be more impactful to your mind because you're more frequently training your mind throughout your day. And then that 15 minutes, just gradually expand it over the course of multiple months, that you're gradually expanding into this type of meditation practice. In this particular course, we focused on breathing mindfulness meditation. You usually like to build that up for about 4, 6, maybe even 8 weeks of building that up. And then you'd like to bring in loving kindness meditation. I'm going to be teaching that in that course I mentioned to you that I'm going to be teaching about 10 days from now. It's called Harmony in Relationships. I'm going to be teaching the loving kindness meditation. But if you'd like to learn that at any point, it's been recorded many times on our YouTube channel, on our podcast, on our Facebook group, and all those kinds of things. You'll be able to find it. You'll be able to find it in the book, in this first book in chapter 11. It's all about meditation. So you would like to ultimately bring in the loving kindness meditation as well. That's what's going to help you knock down the anger, the hatred, the ill will, the frustration, the agitation, the annoyance. Even if you have negative self-talk in your mind where you're being degrading and diminishing to yourself, you can eradicate all of that. Even the slightest dislike that you have towards other beings, by the time you get to enlightenment, you won't have dislike towards others. The only reason why you like certain people now is because they meet your expectations. They're doing what you want. The people that you dislike, they're doing things that you don't want them to do. You have certain expectations of them and you want them to be a certain way. And now when they don't meet your expectations, you might dislike them. But by the time you train your mind to get to enlightenment, you can understand that everybody's going to be different. Not everyone's going to be the same, and they're not going to all do things your way. That's one of the things that makes the world so wonderful, is that we do things differently. If all of us were exactly the same, wow, wouldn't that be like such a boring place to live in, right? Like if Thailand was exactly the same as your home country, why would you ever come here, right? So this variety, this impermanence, this difference about the world, this is all something that you can understand. It makes the world wonderful that things are so different. So as you're training your mind with breathing mindfulness meditation and loving kindness meditation, you can get to the point where all your relationships are harmonious. By the time you bring in the loving kindness meditation, you would like that to be like your morning meditation, because you kind of go out into the world with more love and more kindness in the mind. And now you might do your breathing mindfulness meditation in the midday or evening. But your loving kindness meditation will contain a little bit of breathing mindfulness meditation. So even though we typically do loving kindness meditation in the morning, you guys are starting out with doing breathing mindfulness meditation for the next few weeks. But then ultimately you would like to do your loving kindness in the morning. But that doesn't mean you couldn't do it in the afternoon, because you surely could. Like if you got a phone call at 4 p.m. and now you're starting to be angry and frustrated, that's starting to rise up in your mind, you could do loving kindness meditation in the afternoon too. But doing it in the morning, you kind of go out into the day with your gas tank full of loving kindness, and now you can interact with others in a more loving and kind way. So that's why I recommend that you do it in the morning, but that doesn't mean you couldn't do it any other time as well. So building up your breathing mindfulness meditation and loving kindness meditation gradually is what's going to help you to gradually transform your mind, along with all the other teachings. Remember, you can't meditate your way to enlightenment. It's not possible. You wouldn't be able to get to enlightenment without meditation, but you can't just meditate your way to enlightenment. If you could, even though you can't, but let's just say you could meditate 23 hours a day. If you went outside and you were bitter, harsh, and hostile with people for like an hour a day, you're not anywhere close to enlightenment, being bitter, harsh, and hostile with people, right? So you would like to understand that your meditation is like taking your mind to the gym and exercising the mind, building certain qualities, so that now when you go out into the world, you can practice those qualities in your day-to-day life. And that's what's going to really transform your mind and transform your life. Understanding the teachings intellectually is really important, but it's your practice of the teachings which is really going to transform your mind. If you just understood the teachings of the Buddha intellectually, but you weren't practicing them, the mind's not anywhere close to enlightenment. So you need to actually be practicing the teachings where you're being polite, kind, friendly, and respectful in all situations. And the Buddha will teach you how to do that through the Eightfold Path, which I taught you guys on Tuesday. And then as you're putting all this together, where you're attending classes, you're reading the book, you're practicing generosity, improving your moral conduct, and you're doing your meditation, As you need help, seek guidance from a teacher. You're going to need help at different times. You're not going to be able to get to enlightenment by yourself. There's only one type of individual that would be able to get to enlightenment by themselves without the help of any teachers or any guides, and that's an actual Buddha. And they're very rare in the world. The last one that the world's currently aware of existed over 2,500 years ago. So you're going to need teachers and guides to help you along the path. So reach out to people that you can trust and build a relationship with that person. A teacher of the Buddhist teachings, it's almost like a life coach or like a therapist, somebody who you trust, somebody you know that you talk to and you feel comfortable talking to. You can share all the details of the difficulties and challenges that are going on in your life, and that person can get to know you and then share teachings with you that's going to help you. You can talk to your teacher about all the things that are going wonderful in your life. Surely you can do that. But what you would really like to be doing is talking about all the difficulties and struggles and challenges that you're having, because that's where they're going to be able to help you cultivate wisdom to overcome those challenges. So if you consider me to be your teacher, that's fine. You can reach out to me at any point in time in your life. There's no expectation of anything from you or when or if you should ever contact me, but just know that you can always contact me. If there's other people in your life you would rather contact, then contact those people. But just be sure you have somebody in your life that you can reach out to and get help from time to time, because you're going to need that as you're journeying forward on the path to enlightenment. So do you guys have any questions on integration of these teachings into your life on a day-to-day basis? Remember, those of you guys online, you can put that into Facebook, YouTube, or Zoom, or you can raise your hand in Zoom and ask any questions that you like. Yes, sir.
Tipping. Could that be seen as
when you're tipping like at a restaurant or something like that? When you tip at a restaurant, do you typically give a tip if somebody does good work for you?
I give it because they're not on good money, really.
If someone didn't do a good job, would you still give them a tip?
Yeah, because
you would?
Yeah.
Okay, in that case, it's generosity because there's no expectation of anything in return. Yeah. But if an individual is tipping based on getting something in return, then it's not pure generosity yet. So what generosity is where you're practicing, where you don't want anything or expect anything in return, and you're just sharing your time, effort, energy, and resources without any expectation of anything in return. Yep. Okay. All right. Oh, have a question? Yep.
Hello? Yeah. Just quick follow-up on that. So while there's no expectation, the expectation of, I guess it's an expectation that you expect them to improve as a result of whatever you did.
Yeah.
Is that still expectation?
Yes.
Right? And not expect whether they improve or not. Because like for the tipping part, getting bad service and then tipping is basically not letting them see that they've done a bad job and so they should improve. And if you still tip, then...
What you're getting into is the theory and method behind tipping, because there's different reasons why someone might tip. So that's why I asked them that first, right? So I'm not telling you what you should do about your tips. Like some people will only tip if they get good service, and that's understandable. That's oftentimes what tipping is for, right? To improve service. That's what it stands for, right? Or to improve performance, right? So some people tip that way, and that's fine, but just understand that that's not generosity when you're doing that kind of thing, because you're expecting something in return. But if you're tipping in the way that this gentleman just described, where he doesn't want anything or expect anything, and even if he got bad service, he would still tip, that's generosity. But whether you choose to tip in that same manner or not, that's a choice for you to make.
But if it is, so expanding the tipping part to other activities, it's because you're doing something to teach them a lesson or encourage them to improve. So not necessarily explicitly telling them, I'm doing this to teach you a lesson, but you just don't do anything, and they perceive that and they see that, oh, maybe I didn't do a good job, so maybe I'll improve. So you don't say anything negative, you don't do anything, you just don't tip, but and hope that they will see that and then they will improve.
That's still an expectation. You're hoping they will improve. You're wanting them to improve. Right. So that's not pure generosity yet. Whether you choose to do that or not is up to you, right? But someone might choose to tip in order to get their service to be improved, but it's important that you understand that it's not generosity in that situation.
I guess like the thing that I'm trying to get to is that still karma on my part to give them an incentive to improve, so they're improving as a person, if they get the message, subliminal as it is.
That's not karma, but that's producing karma. Anytime you make a decision, you're always producing results. You're always experiencing consequences. So any decision you make, it's always going to produce karma, no matter what.
And then whether they improve or not, that's up to them, right? That's their karma.
Yeah, that's a choice for them to. It's not their karma of whether they improve or not. That's the decision. The karma is the result that's coming back to you. The decision itself isn't the karma. That's just the decision that you're making. It's the result coming back to you. That's the karma.
Right. And if they do improve, then the next guest that comes along and they give a better service to that next guest, then that is their karma, right? That they've improved on that. But it has nothing to do with me. Like
the bigger tip that's coming back to them, that's their karma, because they chose to do their work more diligently. Right. And now through making those wise decisions, they're experiencing this wholesome result of more money coming to them because they were more polite, more kind, more attentive to their customers. Yep. And now they're getting a bigger tip because of that. So wise decision making is going to produce wholesome karma. So the result coming back to them is their karma.
Right. So, but because that happened, because I triggered that change in them, then the karma for me would be nothing, or like it's something, right? Because I did something, but then my karma could be that I come back to the restaurant and the same waiter and they give me a better service.
Yes, that's your karma.
Right.
But you're not getting karma from the fact that they change with another customer. Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, one of the main tips so cheap, and I tip them basically because of that. The food is so cheap. I pay a lot more in my country, so I just tip them a lot. That's all. Mm-hmm. Is that still?
That's your decision. Yeah, the Buddha's not going to tell you what you should or shouldn't do. Yeah. He's not giving you rules or commandments. He's just helping you see this natural law. Yeah. And then whatever decisions you make, it's your choice. But you can see certain decisions you're making are going to lead to certain results. So your decision to be generous in those situations, it's helping your mind to eliminate craving, desire, attachment, and that's beneficial for your mind. But whether you choose to do it or not is your choice. Someone else could choose to tip in a different way, where like what we were just talking about here, that, hey, I would like to have this good service, and if I get good service, then I will tip. And that's fine too, because everybody's making their own decisions, but there's different results there that are going to be experienced. And when you can see that very clearly, now you're starting to awaken to the wisdom of this natural law. Okay. All right. So now what I'm going to share with you guys is this little activity that I usually share at the end of class like this. As you guys know, each morning we've been doing meditation together. Each afternoon we've been doing meditation together. And now our class is kind of coming to a close. And you guys are going to be out there on your own choosing either to meditate or not. It's up to you, and even when you came here to this course, you were choosing to meditate. Nobody was forcing you to do it. It was your choice to meditate. Well, I've been kind of initiating meditation and guiding you guys in meditation and things like this all throughout the course, where as you guys can see, as each day has gone on, I've kind of like stepped away little by little by little by little, letting you guys stand up on your own 2 feet so that you can build up this practice independent of me, so that your practice isn't attached to me, because you would like to be out there with the ability to do meditation on your own without your teacher being there, because I can't be there all the time because I'm impermanent. So even though each afternoon we've been doing meditation together, here on our afternoon on Thursday, I actually don't do meditation with you guys, but instead I invite you, if you would like, to do meditation on your own. If you would like to do meditation on your own, that's something that you guys could do if you would like to do that. Your choice if you would like to do that. You could do seated, lying, standing, or walking, because you've learned all of these with the breathing mindfulness meditation. Sometimes students like to spend this time in the afternoon to come and talk to me and ask questions, either one or two or three of you guys. Maybe you have residual questions that you would like to ask, and maybe you would like to use this afternoon to get those kinds of things answered. Some people like to practice some generosity by assisting in the temple to kind of clean things up, because we've been here all week. We've been using the bathrooms and the floor and the hallway and the outside and the lobby area, and sometimes students like to kind of clean up, because when you guys came here on Monday, everything was nice and clean from the students before, and sometimes students like to do some cleaning to practice generosity and have the place look nice for the next group of students that come along. So if you guys would like to do that kind of stuff, you're welcome to do that kind of stuff. Sometimes students like to do one or the other of these. Sometimes students like to do all of these. I've seen some students, they'll start with meditation, they'll come ask me a few questions, and then they start picking up some brooms and mops and, cleaning up around the temple. So that's an option too. Or maybe some of you guys are like, I'm a little bit tired, a little bit sleepy. It's been a little bit of a week. I'm going to go home and get some rest for the tour tomorrow. Maybe that's your plan, right? So these are just suggestions. Essentially, all throughout the week, I've been teaching you, much like a teacher might teach you, like in a science class, and then at the end of the week, there's a lab. And it's like, here, go to the lab and kind of dabble with some of the things that you've been taught. So if you like to do any of these things, you're welcome to do them. Or if you like to do none of these things, that's up to you. It's your life. It's your decisions. It's your results. I'm going to be sticking around for anybody who would like to talk. Not everybody needs to do all the same things. You guys can independently decide what it is that you would like to do. One of the things that I would like to share with you about temples, though, is that the way that I think about temples is it's kind of like the womb of a woman. The womb of a woman is like the very best place for an individual to grow and develop and to become a better and better human being. And a temple is like that as well. It's a womb where we can enter in and out of that womb each day in order to learn and grow and develop into a better and better human being. Essentially, a temple is a learning center. It's a community center. It's a cultural center for people to come and learn and grow and develop, like the womb of a woman. And this womb is created by all of us. There's nobody here that is, independently funding this entire temple. The government is not funding it. It's all of us individually that come together, that choose to do a little bit of cleaning, to do a little bit of help here or there. Essentially, over the course of many hundreds of years, Thai people have found it to be useful to have these temples in their community. One of the ways that you might think about a temple also is like a mental health center that is based on people just being able to come in and get help from somebody like me. Where in our countries, maybe if you need mental health help or if you need help with your career, you would have to go to a psychiatrist or a therapist or a business coach or something like that. But here in Thailand, they have kind of like a self-funded mental health network that spans the entire country. And now anybody can enter into this mental health network and choose to get help from somebody like me or others, that you can just come in without any expectation of anything in return and find someone like me that's going to help you to be able to learn and grow and develop in your life. And this is all created by all of us choosing to contribute to keep it in a nice way. So this particular center at one time was really run down. I just mentioned that to you guys this morning, that students came together about 3 months ago and they contributed an extensive amount of funds to refurbish this whole place and make it completely brand new. And now what we try to do, and we even did this before when it was kind of run down, is we maintain it. And that's us trying to keep this womb intact so that for all of us and for other people, they have the ability to come into this womb, get benefit and get help, and then exit the womb if they like. So we do that on a daily basis. So if you guys would like to contribute to any of the cleaning up here, feel free to do that. But just know, just like I mentioned this morning, I never have any expectation of anything in return from you guys. Some students, they are really tired and they just leave. If that's what you would like to do, feel free to do that. But I just like to share with you kind of the understanding of what a temple is and how it is maintained. It's maintained by all of us, that we're the ones who take care of it. This temple, it doesn't belong to anybody, but yet it belongs to everybody, each individual person, but it belongs to all of us, right? So that's why it's here, in that people have found it to be useful, and it's been around for over 500 years, this particular temple. This building that we're in, it used to actually serve as a headquarters for all the monks in Chiang Mai. They used to come here and meet and have meetings, and now they use it for different things, and they've entrusted me to be able to host classes here for people to come and have an international community to be able to learn and grow and develop. So I like to show the Thai people that they've made a really wise decision by entrusting this room with us, by maintaining it and making it nice, so that they can see like, wow, we made a really good decision to let those foreigners use our temple, because they're taking really good care of it. So that you'll see that even during this period of time, I'll probably be in there scrubbing the bathrooms and doing things as well. So if you guys would like to jump in and help out, we can have a lot of fun doing that. But there's these other options as well. And like I mentioned, if you'd like to just go home and get some rest, feel free to do that as well. But I'd like to end just by saying thank you to all of you guys for being interested to learn and practice the teachings, and all the questions and discussion that we had this week. It was really helpful to share the teachings with you, and it was really nice to share them with you. And tomorrow I'm going to share a whole bunch more with you when we go on our tour. So whatever you choose to do, whether it's any of this stuff or anything else, have a really wonderful and lovely rest of your day, and perhaps we'll see you next time. Okay? Sawadee kap, sawadee kap, sawadee kap. Yes, sir. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.